This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I am your host. I am your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fiction and fiction is reality, and the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates around the world, and on iHeartRadio. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and to find out about the programming we have available for you, 24/7, 365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. My guest this hour is Dr. Rajiv Parti. He is a world-renowned heart anesthesiologist and was the chief of anesthesiology at Bakersfield Heart Hospital for more than a decade before having his life-changing near-death experience. Trained in Western medicine, Dr. Parti is also a student of Eastern medicine, which has led him to formulate an integrative approach to total wellness. He is a certified coactive coach from the Coaches Training Institute, a Mars Venus coach trained by Dr. John Gray, a certified practitioner, a certified high-performance coach, grief recovery coach with training in trauma work, and a certified mediation instructor from the Chopra University. Joining us now is Dr. Rajiv Parti. And Doctor, welcome to the show.
It's my honor to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I was wondering if you could tell us about the life-changing near-death experience you had.
Yeah, the near-death experience I had was in December of 2010. It was during a surgery which was a result of another surgery before where a device was implanted in my body.
Mm-hmm.
But about 10-12 days later, the device got infected and I was going into sepsis. And the only way for it to heal itself with antibiotics is to remove the device out. So during surgery for removing the device, I had the near-death experience.
And when you were having your near-death experience, what did you encounter, sir? What did you see? What did you feel?
Yeah. First of all, I felt myself near the ceiling of the room, and I was wondering what's happening, and I was able to listen to a joke even the anesthesiologist told. And I was in a shock. I thought maybe the anesthesiologist used a drug known as ketamine, which can give a dissociative anesthesia. And when I looked at the record, none of that was used. And from there, I went to different realms. The first realm I went was the realm of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I was panicking and I was crying for help. And of all the people, my father, who died about 25 years ago, came to my help. And I had a very difficult relationship with him. I didn't know whether he loved me or not. He was physically and mentally abusive to me. But that time I realized he really did love me, but he could not express it himself because he was a result of a partition of India. And I'm sure in modern terms he was suffering from PTSD.
All right, Doctor.
So-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, from there he led me towards a tunnel, and in tunnel I had a review of my present life. It was like a review where I could feel what the other person was feeling with my actions, good or bad. And I also had a vision of my 2 past lives.
Wow. That was one experience, I'll tell you that. That certainly would shake the very roots of anyone's religious beliefs or their thought about the hereafter or what happens after death. But you and I have to take a commercial break, and we'll talk more about this and much more when we return with our guest this hour, Dr. Rajiv Parti. His website is www.theheartbrokendoctor.com. That's www.theheartbrokendoctor.com. And we'll return on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and iHeartRadio.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Dr. Rajiv Parti this hour. His website is www.theheartbreakdoctor.com. Did you have any revelations while you were having your near-death experience, Doctor? Dr. Parti, are you with us? Dr. Parti, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Did you have any revelations when you were having your near-death experience?
Yeah, I had quite a few revelations. And first of all, one of the revelations was that we do have past lives.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, one of the past life, I was a cruel prince in medieval times, and I was whipping the poor farmers. And my soldiers were doing the same. And in my present life, I used to have pain in my right wrist. I had 3 surgeries in my right wrist. And I asked forgiveness from those farmers, and they forgave me, and within a few weeks, after my near-death experience, my right wrist pain went away.
Wow. And as a medical doctor, how do you explain that?
That was very difficult to explain, but I was discussing with Dr. Moody, the father of near-death experience, because in the other realm, time is not linear. Kind of past, present, and future exist at the same time. And so you could go back and ask for forgiveness. That's what I did, and my bottom line is my wrist got better.
I understand that that 7 eternal truths were revealed to you during your NDE.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, the 7 eternal truths were that, as I mentioned, that we all have past lives, and there are different levels of consciousness. Then there's life after death, and we all are connected to each other, and the ultimate reality is pure love and intelligence.
As an anesthesiologist who worked at the Bakersfield Heart Hospital, how do you explain or how do you rationalize scientifically a near-death experience?
Scientifically, people have different theories, like there's hypoxia or this release of some chemicals from the brain. But for me, it's very hard to scientifically prove it, but for me, the biggest proof for my family was that I was a changed person. If it was just regular experience, then the person does not change dramatically.
But having a near-death experience doesn't that equate to you having a very very important life-threatening event happening to you? Like what were you having the surgery for?
Like in 2008, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and after that, the surgery went fine. I developed incontinence. And to correct the incontinence in 2010, the doctors at UCLA Medical Center implanted an artificial sphincter. But few weeks later, it got infected, and that was leading to sepsis, and sepsis has a very high mortality rate.
Right.
And so they had to do emergency surgery to take the device out.
So you underwent the surgery, and as while you were having the surgery, you had the near-death experience. Now, during the time of your surgery, did the surgeons, did they record anything that would show them medically that you were actually either dying or having this type of experience? Did you go into shock?
The anesthesiologist recorded. I saw that my blood pressure had dropped and there was skipping of the heartbeats. But not the surgeon. Surgeons were busy doing the surgery, but the anesthesiologist did record.
Is that normal for people undergoing that type of operation where they would have the blood pressure drop and their heartbeat skip?
It's not normal, but drop in blood pressure happens during any surgery. If somebody gets too much of anesthesia or the wrong drug is given, it can drop the pressure. But for me, as far as I could see from the record, the regular doses of anesthetics were used.
As an anesthesiologist yourself, during any of the operations that you partook in the role of anesthesiologist, had anybody ever reported to you a near-death experience?
Yes, exactly. A few years back, I had a patient who was going through a special kind of surgery where the root of the aorta, the main artery which comes from the heart, had to be replaced. And the only way it could be done was to freeze the patient. We literally froze the patient. There was no blood going to the brain, no blood going to the heart or kidneys. And we brought the temperature down to, I think, 28 degrees centigrade, or 15 degrees centigrade. And that patient, when he woke up, he was describing me the operating room and the conversation, and I thought, this guy is hallucinating because he didn't have any blood going to his brain for about 40 minutes. And I actually gave him a shot of Haldol, which is an antipsychotic, so he sleeps through, and I never went back to check on him. To discuss this. Sure. I checked on him medically, but I didn't discuss this episode with him.
Are near-death experiences more common than we would imagine during surgical procedures?
They are becoming more and more common right now because the science has advanced and the resuscitation techniques have advanced, where we can bring a heart which is stopped by shocking, by giving epinephrine, or putting a pacemaker to restart the heart. And when the heart restarts, then the blood starts flowing to brain and all the other organs.
You say you were taught something called conscious-based healing during your NDE. What is that, and how is it related to the 7 eternal truths that you told us about previously?
Consciousness-based healing it's actually based on what Einstein said, that solution to a problem cannot be found at the level of consciousness it was created. So, 70% of the modern day diseases are caused by stress. And by elevating our consciousness, by functioning from a higher level, the stress gets reduced. And the way to reduce stress and going up in your consciousness is by 3 things: meditation, prayer if you believe in God,
yes,
and service. And these all 3 play a very important part. And the mantra I always talk to people: to be happy, you have to forgive, love, and heal.
Once again, I'm going to call on your expertise as a doctor and an anesthesiologist. How would you explain the physiology behind meditation and how it would work for us?
Yeah, meditation actually changes the wave pattern of the mind. There are different waves: alpha, beta, and theta.
Right.
And beta is the very active form of brain, which can be measured. Then alpha is slower, and the theta is the most creative, very slow waves. And that also changes the brain structure by MRIs. And they have seen that the prefrontal cortex, which is the higher brain, actually becomes thicker. And that is the executive function of the brain, because there are 3 brains we have. One is the reptilian brain, which is the brain stem, which is for basic survival. Then there's the middle brain, which call it monkey brain, which has limbic system, which deals with emotions, fight, flight, and also to some extent survival. And then we have the higher brain, which I call Buddha brain, or in medical terms, it's called prefrontal.
Are you with us, sir? Hello, doctor. Are you still with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, we keep losing you, so that's why.
I'm not doing anything.
No problem, sir. How has your NDE changed your life, sir?
Before NDE, I came to America in 1982 from India, and the American dream became my passion, and it became a runaway American dream. I had fancy cars, sports Mercedes, a Hummer. I was living in a 10,000 square foot house. It was only me and my wife. And after my near-death experience, those things didn't remain that valuable to me. I sold my house, moved to a moderate-sized house. I sold my Hummer, which only gave 8 miles per gallon, and I bought a hybrid Camry. Sold my sports Mercedes. So my life literally and physically went from Hummer to hybrid. And my relationship with my family and with my patients improved dramatically. And my service became my passion.
So, what effect did your NDE have on your marriage?
Oh, that's a very good question. In the beginning, my wife was very supportive. But gradually, she realized with the changes in me, I'm no more the man she married. I used to be alpha, high charging, high energy, pushing, being successful at any cost. person.
Right.
So gradually our marriage broke down. And so much so, about 2 years ago, she told me she doesn't love me anymore. And in actuality, she became very friendly with my best friend.
And since then, have you divorced?
Oh, we were going to divorce. I was living separately in San Francisco area. So I had come to Bakersfield, where I'm originally from, and my wife is a dentist here, to sign the divorce papers. And we were in the lawyer's office. We were arguing about something. And then my wife suddenly said, do you want to complete 30 years of marriage, which was only 6 or 8 weeks away? I said, we have lived so long, 30 years. Why not complete 30 years? And I said, let's give it a shot. And since that day, it is now 10 months, we have been the happiest we have ever been in life and in marriage. Because I was again a newly transformed person. This is my second transformation.
That is wonderful to hear. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
I've got about a minute before I have to go for my news break at the bottom of the hour, Doctor. What would you tell a person who is skeptical about near-death experiences?
Until unless somebody experiences it is very hard. But for me and for Dr. Alexander and others, they are very real experiences. Because the person who has it changes, which is unheard of otherwise if it's just a regular hallucination.
All right, stand by, sir. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exxon Nation, Dr. Rajiv Parti is our special guest. And the website is now take this down, theheartbreakdoctor.com. That's www.theheartbreakdoctor.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue hearing the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. www.theheartbreakdoctor.com is my guest's website. Dr. Rajiv Parti is our special guest. We're talking about near-death experiences this hour here in the X Zone. Doctor, how does a near-death experience differ from a dream?
It can be like a dream, but the main thing is the person who has it wakes up a different person. The transformation which happens most of the time is totally different. Normally with dream, the person usually once he wakes up, he or she wakes up, they're the same person.
All right. So does everyone who has an NDE come out changed, or is this just in certain cases?
I think, according to my studies and talking to Dr. Moody and Dr. Eben Alexander, most of the time the person is a totally different person. There are at least some changes.
During your NDE, did you see the life review? Did you see a deity? Did you Did you see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, first of all, I encountered two angels, Michael and Raphael, and I'm a Hindu by birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked. And actually, when I told my wife about it, her first reaction was, what happened to the thousands of Indian god and goddesses? Why didn't they show up? And I had no answer for it. And they guided me towards the light. It was like 1,000 suns bright at the same time. And I was told my life will be spared, but I'll be living a totally different life.
That is strange, considering you were Indians. You were an Indian, and as you said, there are thousands of gods, and yet, how do you rationalize that it was two angels that met you and guided you?
Only thing I can say is, ultimately, there's only one reality.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a separate Hindu god or a Christian god or a Muslim god.
Right.
The reality is pure love and light. So maybe I was any archetype. These are archetypes, like what Carl Jung talks about too. Any archetype can manifest.
When you were having your NDE, did you sense any? Were your senses aware of temperature? Were there any smells, odors?
There was a sweet smell, and I could hear a distant sound of Om. And all my five senses, as I describe in my book, I could feel love. I could see love, hear love, touch love, and taste love. It's very hard to describe, but there was love, unconditional love. The closest I can describe the unconditional love is when my first son was born, and I was looking at him in the crib,
mm-hmm.
and I felt he's here through me. No matter what happens, I will always be there for him.
Based on the research that you've done with other people like Dr. Raymond Moody, who we've had on the show a number of times, are there any? Can you see any string that attaches the people who report NDEs? I mean, besides the fact that they have the NDE.
The common thread between all the people who are NDE?
Yes, sir.
The common thread is the transformative experience, and most of the people who had NDE experience light. And that's the most common thread between all. And only 15% of the people who had NDE have a darker experience or hellish experience.
Using a process you have developed called Parti Integrative Process, you are now working as a relationship and heartbreak coach to help others mend grief or of a broken heart. Now, what is that process, and how does it work?
The process is based on my own experience and my studies. The main parts of it is first of all, if somebody's heart is broken,
mm-hmm.
they're going through grief. And grief is not something abnormal, but is a normal feeling, and one has to go through it, but one can be supported. And then there may be something known as love trauma. And actually there is a medical syndrome described as heartbreak syndrome. And I suffered a heartbreak syndrome. I literally developed physical chest pains. I even got a cardiac angiogram done to make sure it's not coming from my coronary arteries.
Right.
And then there is elevation of consciousness. And the fourth is energy medicine, like opening up the heart chakra and
mm-hmm.
Reiki. And the fifth, which is very important, is the heart practices, which is forgiveness, loving kindness, compassion, equanimity. And the best word I like among the heart practices is mudita. It doesn't have an English translation. It's the Sanskrit word M-U-D-I-T-A. It is on Google. And mudita means exactly, I'm happy because you are happy. And that was the process I used to forgive my wife. that I'm happy because she is happy. And that changed everything in my marriage.
Could we equate that to unconditional love?
We can equate it to unconditional love, but it's actually little beyond that, because you're happy because the other person is happy.
Right.
They may not love you, and you may not love them.
Okay.
But if they are happy, you are happy.
If you're happy, I'm happy. I like that. I really do. Is it true that those people who have had near-death experiences, doctor, come back without a fear of dying whatsoever?
That is very true. The fear of death goes away. And so much so, like on my 60th birthday, I always wanted to do skydiving. Me and my wife and my whole family, we did skydiving. And I was not afraid. Of course, I did with parachute and tandem skydiving.
Certainly.
Yeah. But I had a very good experience. I was not afraid.
So once again, drawing on your expertise as a medical practitioner, anesthesiologist, and someone who has had a near-death experience, how would you describe death?
Death is like the body and their soul are kind of separate things. The soul resides in the body. So death, medically speaking, is defined as the stoppage of the heart, stoppage of the brain, and the body dies. But the life continues. Like coming from my Indian background, we believe in reincarnation, and shedding the body is like changing clothes.
I understand. Is there proof of reincarnation, or is this just something we wish would be real?
There are a lot of anecdotal experiences where people have remembered their past life.
Mm-hmm.
And like Dr. Brian Weiss, he is an expert on past life regression, where you hypnotize the person and they go back to different lifetimes. And they can describe, and so many people have benefited from experiencing their past lives.
But isn't it true, doctor, that hypnosis doesn't always work, and that there have been people who have claimed to have gone or appeared to have gone under hypnosis who actually use real-life experiences as well as experience seen through the media and interpret them as if they were their own lives when having a past life regressive session?
That is very true. It all gets mixed up. And sometimes the present life experiences can feel like they are like from the past life. My belief is that even if there was no real past life, under hypnosis, it is coming from their deep subconscious, what they're telling. And by helping them with those deep patterns, one can help the client or the patient. I believe there is past life, but if my client does not believe it, still they will benefit from past life regression.
I understand. In your opinion, sir, what will be the greatest advantage to near-death experience research in the future?
The greatest advantage will be that the fear of death goes away. And it helps live this life fully. Like my personal mantra became, life is not just existing, but thriving and giving back.
Mine is, you're here for a good time, not for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thrive and give back.
Sure.
What
has in your opinion been the most recent breakthrough in near-death experience research?
Like people have been trying to make it happen, like there was an old movie, I think, Flatliners.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not a guarantee that it will happen. And because with modern resuscitative techniques, it is possible, like I described to my patient, who was frozen by all definition, was dead. No heart rate, no brain waves, nothing. And then we revived him. And I was wondering, where is soul? Is he alive or dead?
There are so many questions and so few answers when it comes to the near-death experience phenomenon. And is there any sociological group here on this planet that you're aware of where no near-death experiences have ever been reported?
I'm not aware of any special group. They have been reported in almost Indian culture, and they've been reported in America, and people from different religions have reported it. And the common thing was seeing the light.
The light.
Yeah.
All right, Doctor, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Dr. Rajiv Parti. We're talking about near-death experiences this hour. The good doctor is the author of a number of books, but if you'd like to visit his website, it is called theheartbreakdoctor.com. That's www.theheartbreakdoctor.com, and we'll both be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this hour here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, November 3, 4, and 5, the Treasure Coast Para-Unity Conference in Fellsmere, Florida. For more information, visit paraunityconference.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Dr. Rajiv Parti. He is he's a gentleman who has had a near-death experience that changed his life. And he is living each and every day with that change that has occurred, and very happily, I might add, and we're very happy to have Dr. Parti here with us. His website is theheartbreakdoctor.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/DR.RAJIVPARTI. And you can also contact him on Twitter / Dr. Rajiv Parti. First of all, Doctor, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for the work that you are doing in near-death experience research. It, in my opinion, is one of the most important aspects of the research that is going into the pseudosciences. And I know that's not a very nice word, but I don't know what other category to put it in. And I, as I have respect for you, I also have a great deal of respect for the work that Dr. Raymond Moody is doing as well.
Yeah. And actually, my marriage had a near-death experience too.
Yes, and it came back.
Yeah.
Excellent. How is your wife doing?
Oh, my wife is doing great. My relationship, was a very hierarchical relationship, which I call a vertical relationship. Like I was at the top, then was my wife, and then the children.
Right.
But now it's a very horizontal relationship. We are different, but we are equal. And I respect, and the main thing is when me and my wife reconciled, I took her out for dinner, and I asked her what does she want from me, and she said 3 words, and that the order is very important too. She said first is respect, second is care, and then is love. And I gave her all 3 in that order, and she is the happiest person, and that makes me very happy. And we have developed deep friendship.
I love a good love story. Thank you for making my day.
Oh, thank you.
Can you please explain why and how to apply each of the following tips you emphasize in healing a broken heart? Number 1, the way is out. Number 2, selfless service. And number 3, forgiveness.
It starts with, the way out of heartbreak is to go within. By that, I mean, instead of trying to change your partner, if you change yourself, like a samba dance, the partner changes on its own. And that's elevating your level of consciousness. That comes the selfless service. As I mentioned, the 3 things I recommend is selfless service, which is a Sanskrit word seva, and meditation and prayer. Like meditation is when God talks to you, and prayer is when you talk to God, if you believe in God. And then forgiveness is not condoning somebody's action, but actually a forgiving for your own self, to letting go of the hurt. You may be in your room, dark room, sitting and crying, but the person who caused pain will be in Hawaii and having a good time. Actually, not forgiving is like what Buddha said, it's like holding a burning coal in your hand to throw it at somebody, or drinking the poison your own self, thinking the other person will die.
That's very true, isn't it?
Forgiveness is
So in today's society,
I'm saying forgiveness is foundation. Yeah.
In today's society, there is a lot of underhanded things that go on in the business place, in politics, and even in the home front. How do you best suggest people deal with negativity in order that we can turn it around and use forgiveness?
Is by transforming your own self and being of service. And a service also I will talk about being connected to something higher than your own self. That is spiritual dimension which leads to fulfillment. And one can believe in vertical spirituality, which is God, angels, higher beings, or one can, if doesn't believe in God, it could be horizontal, what I call horizontal spirituality, where you are fighting for something like environment, preventing abuse to young children, child pornography, abuse to women, something higher than your own self. That's what leads to fulfillment and leads to positive change. And if everybody was to practice this, the politics and everything will be transformed. That's my mission, to help people that by practicing connection to the spirit, however they define it, is what is needed.
Is there any way someone who is going to be going under general anesthetic for a major operation, is there any way that they can prepare in case they do have a near-death experience?
That's a very good question. Like, they can prepare by prayer and meditation and be open to what they experience, not to be totally like these things that cannot happen or not be open to the experience.
All right. And you mentioned prayer and they can meditate. What is the best way, in your opinion, to meditate?
There are two kinds of meditations. One is mantra-based and one is mindfulness. And usually I teach mindfulness, whereas being present in the present moment with acceptance. And the best way to practice is to slowly sit down, relax your body, calm your body, and just observe the breath coming in and out from your nostrils. And do abdominal breathing, because abdominal breathing stimulates the parasympathetic system, which is the rest and repair system, and shuts down the fight and flight, the sympathetic system.
Isn't that what happens to us when we go to sleep?
It does happen, but then also the brain waves are different during sleep and versus meditation. Meditation is restful awareness. You're aware, but you're restful. And sleep is restful sleep, non-awareness.
We're coming close to the end of the show, Doctor, and I'd like to know if you have any words of wisdom or anything that you'd like to share with the members of the audience.
Yeah, I will just leave them with two statements. Key to happiness is to forgive, love, and heal. And the second is fulfillment in life happens by being connected to spiritual ideas, which could be vertical spirituality or horizontal spirituality.
When are you going to be offering courses to the public again?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'll be offering Facebook Live, and actually I'm doing a workshop in Bakersfield next week on stress management, how men and women are different when the stress is there. They react differently, and relationship should be a source of helping deal with stress rather than become cause for stress.
Do you have any quick suggestions for us how we can, de-stress ourselves?
First of all is not to have too long of a do list, and meditation and taking life easy, and supporting your spouse. And like in women, helping them regenerate the love hormone, which is known as oxytocin, by being helpful, by being caring, giving a real hug, and taking care of your partner.
That's right, and bringing home some flowers and a box of chocolates doesn't hurt, does it?
Yeah, sure. I have done that.
I do that. You know what? I go out and buy my wife a dozen roses at least a couple times a month for no specific reason.
Exactly, Rob. That's the main thing. I've done it without any reason, just to say I love you.
Exactly. And I'm a real romantic. I believe, like you do, that the answer to the mess we find ourselves in this world is one little word, 4 letters, LOVE. All you need is love.
And Rob, I'll leave with one thought, that in a relationship, it's not just the big things, big diamond ring you give on anniversary or something, but what I have learned is the small things count. Small acts of love. Like my wife loves eating papaya. And one day the papayas were gone. Next morning I went to the grocery store, which I never used to do before. I bought papaya at home. She was so happy that I cared, that I did the small act.
Exactly. Doctor, what is your website again? And let our listeners know how they can contact you if they have any further questions and they'd like to, use your expertise to help them out of a heartbreak situation.
Yeah, sure. My website is very easy, www.theheartbreakdoctor.com. Theheartbreakdoctor.com.
Dr. Rajiv Parti, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the X Zone. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. And would you do something for me, sir?
Sure, Rob.
Please give your wife my very best.
Yeah, thank you. I'll give her a hug.
All right, you give her a hug. You take care, my friend, and I look forward to the next time you join us back here in the X Zone. Until then, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Rob. It was my honor.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, X Zone Nation, that was our guest this hour, Dr. Rajiv Parti, and he is a world-renowned anesthesiologist and was the chief of the anesthesiology department at Bakersfield Heart Hospital for more than a decade. Now, if you'd like more information on Dr. Parti, his website is theheartbreakdoctor.com. That's www.theheartbreakdoctor.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.